Welcome to Reddit Bedtime Stories, where I read Reddit's most interesting stories in a calm voice, so you can relax, unwind, and drift off to sleep. Before we begin, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin. I saw an angel descend from heaven to sit on a park bench. Am I going insane? So I, 27 male, was taking a trip with my family at Emerald Park, formerly Tato Park, and my wife Sinead, 24 female. She is very loving, and we have been together since 2020, married in 2022. Allowed me to take a wander by myself. I was minding my own business, sitting on a bench, when suddenly the clouds, as it was cloudy that day, typical Irish weather Lowell, most likely, heaven opened and formed a women-shaped circle. The women pretended to walk, however she was floating, therefore she wasn't really walking as she was floating. Then, once she had stopped moving, she slowly started to gradually descend from the sky, most likely heaven, because where else would she, a stunning woman like that, be descending from? Then, she successfully descended with grace and elegance. Perchance, after she successfully descended and magically walked on thin air beforehand, she stood still for a split second of uncertainty. She walked backwards onto a bench that she landed in front of with ease and grace, sitting on the same bench as my old friend from school, John O'Connell, which was a coincidence. Anyway, after she sat on the bench with John, and then, to my surprise, she got up immediately, but technically it wasn't immediately, as she sat next to John O'Connell for about 2 seconds, but probably not exactly, as I wasn't counting at the time. But it probably was around 2 seconds. As she got up, I was looking at her in awe. I was completely flabbergasted by her beauty. She then, after she got up off the bench with John O'Connell, came up towards me. I was still in a trance, looking at her. So she came up to me and said this. These are her exact words. "Hi, I'm Dara Sisson." She then walked away towards the Shu Chulin with grace. Perchance, I was still in shock. Angels are real? This is crazy. Let me know in the comments if you agree that angels are in fact real. I then spent the next half an hour catching up the old school friend, John O'Connell. I remember us getting up to all sorts in school, like yesterday. Then eventually, my wife Sinead walked past me as she was looking for me, as she was wondering where I was. She still, to this day, doesn't know that I saw the most beautiful angel, Dara Sisson, as I never told her in fear of her thinking I was cheating on her, which I would never. I still also to this day have never seen or heard Dara Sisson for 4 months, as this event occurred 5 months ago. I still hear her voice sometimes, but that stopped after about a month, I think. Driving Uber. I drove Uber for a while and had some strange experiences, from overheard conversations to run-ins with drunk, aggressive passengers. The scariest happened late on a Friday night. A booking came through under a woman's name. At the pickup, I saw a couple standing back and a huge drunk man on the grass. As I pulled up, he staggered toward my car. I asked if he was the only passenger. The woman said yes, and when I refused because of his state, she pleaded with me to take him. Against my instincts, I agreed. He climbed into the back seat. He was enormous, broad chest, arms like tree trunks, about 185 centimeters tall. At first, he stayed silent, which I preferred. The destination, though, was deep in the hinterland behind the Gold Coast, a long and lonely drive. Not far in, he asked about passengers I'd had. Then he launched into a rant about groups he despised, women, Young people, foreigners, religions. His language was ugly. I eventually told him I didn't want to hear it. He fell quiet, but only briefly. When I glanced at the mirror, our eyes met. "What are you looking at?" he snapped. I said I was just checking my mirrors. His reply chilled me. "Turn around and drive, or I'll rip your arm off." Looking at his size, I believed him. That was one of only 2 times I was truly terrified driving Uber. I kept going until the app said we'd arrived. But there were no houses or lights, just trees and what looked like a steep drop at the roadside. I asked where he lived. He stared blankly. I suspected the woman had sent him to a fake location just to get rid of him. I said, "Come on, mate, I want to go home." "Where to?" he muttered. "Don't worry, I'll just sleep in your car." I told him no. He grew aggressive, hurling insults. My mind raced. I knew I couldn't overpower him, but he was drunk. If it came to a fight, I planned to jump out, lure him after me, then circle back and drive off. Then suddenly, he opened the door and got out. I braced myself, ready to bolt, but instead, he walked to the edge of the road and stepped over the drop. Beyond was only forest and darkness. He vanished. I sat frozen, debating what to do. Eventually I drove off, shaken but relieved. I half expected to see news later about a body being found, but nothing ever came. That was the last time I saw him. The experience never left me. After that night, I was stricter about what rides I accepted, confirming details, avoiding vague destinations, and trusting my instincts. Driving Uber gave me plenty of stories, but that night in the hinterland is the one I'll never forget. Self-checkout tried to ruin my life personal experience, so I went to the store last week just to grab bread and a couple things. I hit the self-checkout because the lines were long. I scan the bread and boom, the screen freezes and goes, "Please wait for assistance." Now I'm standing there holding bread like I'm trying to smuggle it out under my shirt. The red light above me is flashing like I'm about to get arrested. An employee comes over, taps the screen once like that's gonna fix anything, and walks away. 10 seconds later, it starts yelling, "Unexpected item in the bagging area." The unexpected item was literally my own reusable bag. By now, people in line are staring at me like I'm pulling off a robbery. I try to move stuff around, and the machine just keeps screaming. Finally, I just gave up, left the bread, and started walking out. As I'm leaving, some little kid points at me and yells, "He's stealing," like it's a damn movie. I have never felt so guilty walking out of a store empty-handed in my life. The haunting of Sable Manor Hospital. I step out of the patrol car, and man, the rain is just hammering the hood. Instinct kicks in, you know. I check my holster, still secure. My radio's on, and the body cam's live. Just my little lifelines, in case things go sideways. I hang back a bit longer than I probably should, double-checking, even triple-checking my gear. Usually, I wouldn't handle a call like this on my own. But tonight, thanks to a bunch of unrelated chaos, it's just me. I let out a slow breath, trying to calm the nerves buzzing under my skin. Then I look up. The hospital is right there, crumbling, forgotten, and totally wrapped in shadows. It's not just that it's run down. It feels, well, unnerving if I'm being honest. Dispatch warned me noises were coming from inside the place. That's why I'm here. However, it seems quiet for now. I approach the building slowly, scanning the exterior for anything that seems off. The rain slicks the pavement, and the concrete steps groan under my weight. crumbling bits, falling away. At the top, I pause. The front door is hanging all crooked, half torn from its hinges. I reach out, feeling a bit hesitant, then just like that, it starts to move. It creaks open on its own. What the hell? I mutter, instinctively stepping back, heart racing. Taking a deep breath, I steady myself. Then, with every nerve on edge, I cross the threshold and step inside. As I walk through the doorway, a cold gust hits me from within, not from the storm behind me. Weird, right? Maybe there's a hole in the roof or a busted window somewhere, but still, it feels off. The air is thick with mildew, dust, and something sour lurking beneath it all. I push forward, boots crunching on debris, and just like that, my radio crackles to life. Not static, but whispers, echoes, garbled voices I can't quite make out. I freeze. That's when I spot a trail of blood snaking deeper into the building. Fresh. I reach for my radio. Dispatch, this is Officer James. I'm reporting a possible 1067. I repeat, possible homicide on site. Requesting backup, I let go of the button, but all I get is static and those creepy whispers. Dispatch, we've got interference. Do you read me? Nothing. Just that gut-wrenching noise. Shit. My eyes stay glued to the radio, trying to figure out what's wrong with it, and that's when I feel it. A prickling sensation creeping up the back of my neck. My hair stands on end. An unexplainable feeling, yet so familiar. I'm being watched. I glance up toward the hallway where the blood leads, and then I see them. Eyes, glowing, 2, no, 3, low to the ground. Just watching. I stop breathing. My hand instinctively finds my pistol. I start to backpedal, slow at first. Then I just bolt for the door. But it's like it's back on its hinges. Solid. I grab the handle. Locked. I ram it with my shoulder. Nothing. I slam it again. Still nothing. Out of options, I frantically scan the room, spotting a window. I fire at it, and the bullet hits, but just bounces off. What the fuck? My heart's pounding in my ears, and then it hits me. I've got no way out. No door, no window. Just me, stuck in here with whatever that was back there. Okay, fine, I mumble, trying to sound calm, like maybe hearing my own voice could help keep me together. I'm just seeing things. When I turn, it's going to be gone. I take a deep, shaky breath and force myself to look away from the locked door. The beam from my flashlight flickers over peeling walls, rusty gurneys, and shards of glass. Every shadow feels like it's hiding something I can't see. My boots crunch on the debris as I follow the trail of blood deeper into this place, even though every part of me is screaming to turn back. I tried to surprise my girlfriend with breakfast in bed, but I ended up in the emergency room, so I thought I'd be a sweet boyfriend and make my girlfriend breakfast in bed. Sounds simple, right? Toast, eggs, juice, and coffee. No big deal. The plan was to wake up early, cook everything, sneak in like a food ninja, and earn the Boyfriend of the Year award. Here's how it actually went. Funny me inside kitchen. I underestimated how hot the frying pan was. I flipped the eggs too aggressively, dropped the toast on the floor, then panicked and tried to clean it up with my sock. Yes, sock. While juggling all this, I accidentally leaned on the stove and burned my elbow. Still determined, I plated everything, burn and all, poured the juice, made the coffee, and then stepped on the cat. Full-on cartoon chaos. Cat screamed. I screamed. Tray flipped. Coffee and juice all over the floor. I slipped. I landed on the pan, which of course was still hot. Girlfriend runs in, sees me sprawled on the floor, holding a spatula like a defeated warrior, with toast on my head and the cat hissing in the corner. She laughed so hard she couldn't breathe. I ended up with a minor burn, a bruised ego, and a new rule in the house. Surprise breakfast must be supervised. Tried to be romantic. Ended up in the ER. Cat still hates me. My phone buzzing at 3 a.m. probably saved me. Last week, I was driving home from a late shift. I live in a small town, so the roads are empty at night. I stopped at a red light and noticed a car pull up behind me. Nothing weird about that, except when the light turned green, the car didn't pass me. It stayed right behind me. I took a few random turns to see if I was overthinking it. Every turn, the car followed. No signals, no attempt to pass, just sticking to me. My chest got tight. Right when I was about to head toward home, my phone started buzzing in the passenger seat. The screen lit up. For whatever reason, that was enough for me to swerve into a gas station instead. The car behind me slowed down, idled for a second, then sped off down the road. I sat there shaking for 10 minutes. I don't know if they were just lost, or if my phone lighting up made them think I was about to call someone. Either way, I'm glad it happened. How I accidentally confessed to my best friend back in college. I had this best friend, Anna. We did everything together: late night study sessions, pizza runs, movie marathons, you name it. Everyone kept asking if we were dating, but we always laughed it off. No, we're just friends, we'd say. Except I wasn't just friends. At least, not in my head. Every time she laughed at one of my dumb jokes or fell asleep on my shoulder during a movie, my heart reminded me that I was so gone for her. But I never said anything because I didn't want to ruin what we had. Fast forward to one rainy Friday night. We were hanging out in my tiny dorm room, eating instant noodles because we were broke students. She was sitting on my bed scrolling through her phone, and I was half watching the rain hit the window. And then, out of nowhere, she sighed and said, "You know, I wonder if I'll ever find someone who actually gets me." My brain short-circuited. Before I could stop myself, I blurted out, "I get you." She looked up. "What?" At this point, I should have laughed it off, but apparently my mouth decided it was now or never, because I just kept going. "I mean, I get you. I know how you take your coffee. I know you hate when people talk during movies. I know you secretly cry at Pixar films, and I know you act tough, but you're the kindest person I've ever met. I get you, Anna, and I think I love you." Silence. The kind of silence that makes you want to crawl under the bed and never come out. She just stared at me, and I was about to backtrack like, "Haha, just kidding. Anyway, let's watch Toy Story." But then she smiled. Not the small, polite smile she gives strangers, but the big smile, the one that crinkled her nose and made her eyes light up. She put her phone down, scooted closer, and whispered, "Took you long enough." Then she kissed me, right there, in my crappy dorm room, with rain tapping on the window and 2 half-eaten cups of noodles on the desk. We've been together ever since. I accidentally sabotaged my roommate's job interview while dressed as a clown. My roommate had this big second-round interview for a job he's been trying to get for like a month. I told him I'd be quiet and stay out of the way. Easy. What I forgot was that earlier that morning, I had been on FaceTime with my niece, who's 5, and currently obsessed with clowns, so obviously I had full clown makeup on. Red nose, face paint, the whole thing. No wig, but like, it was a look. Anyway, I got distracted scrolling on my phone, and didn't realize he decided to use my laptop for the interview because he was glitching. I also didn't realize the camera was on. So I casually walk into the room, completely dressed as a clown, holding a bowl of cereal, humming the SpongeBob theme song like an idiot. I made eye contact with the recruiter on call before I realized what was happening. Just a direct clown-to-human stare. My brain panicked, and for whatever reason, I dropped to the floor like I'd been hit. Full-on combat crawl out of the room. I'm not even kidding. The recruiter didn't say anything in the moment, but apparently my roommate got a LinkedIn message a couple days later that said, "Tell your clown friend I hope they're doing okay. He didn't get the job. I'm no longer allowed near job interviews. My niece still thinks I'm the funniest person alive. So, mixed results." Was I wrong for leaving my friend's wedding early? One of my close friends, Megan, got married last month. I was really excited, showed up on time, and even brought a nice gift. The ceremony was beautiful, but the reception dragged on forever. Dinner didn't start until almost 10 p.m., and I was starving. There wasn't a real seating plan, so I got stuck at a table with strangers while my friend was too busy to say hi, which I get, but it still stung. By 11, there was still no music, no dancing, nothing really going on. I was tired, hungry, and honestly just wanted to go home. So I slipped out quietly, figuring it wouldn't be a big deal. The next day, I texted her congratulations again, but later she told me she was upset that I didn't stay the whole night. She said it felt like I didn't care about her big day. Some mutual friends agree with her, but I feel like I had my reasons. Tried to fix my toilet. Somehow ended up with cops at my door. I'm not a plumber, obviously, but my toilet was running non-stop, and I got sick of jiggling the handle like a caveman. Figured I'd be a responsible adult and fix it myself. Watch one YouTube video. The guy said it's probably the flapper thing. Cool. I go to the store, buy what looked like the right part it wasn't, and started repairing it. The tank lid is now on the floor. There's water everywhere. I dropped a wrench in the bowl. Then I accidentally turned the wrong valve, and the pipe behind the toilet made this loud bang like someone kicked the wall. I flinched so hard, I smacked my head on the sink. My upstairs neighbor starts stomping around, then bangs on my door yelling, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, just fixing the toilet." Apparently, that sounded like fixing to blow it up. 2 minutes later, actual police knock on my door. I open it soaking wet, holding a cracked tank lid in one hand and a plunger in the other. One of the cops legit laughed when he saw me. The other one asked if I was trying to build a pressure bomb or something. I told them I was just trying to stop the stupid toilet from running. They looked around. No bomb. Just one guy, one broken toilet, and a crime scene's worth of water on the floor. Anyway, the toilet still runs, and my neighbor avoids eye contact now